Kansas used a 16-2 run in the final 4 minutes of this game to go from down 10 points to a 4-point victory. That's some veteran stuff from the Jayhawks, some clutch stuff from the Jayhawks, some complete both sides of the ball stuff from the Jayhawks. What did you see in the end game here, Matt, that helped Kansas to this victory?
First off, I want to give credit to Porter Moser. I thought offensively, Kansas is switching. They're switching pick and rolls. They're doing. I thought in the first half, the slip actions that Oklahoma's running and getting the matchups they want and getting guards down the hill. I thought Oklahoma's offense, especially in the first half, was really good. I thought the possession to end the first half, where Oklahoma got the ball back off a missed free throw, where the lob play they get, and then McCullough comes down and he has a dunk. He misses. He makes 1 or 2, and Oklahoma's able to score. That momentum going into halftime, you're like, okay, Oklahoma could go on a run here and take the lead in the second half, and that's exactly what they did. But, man, like I said earlier, that thing comes to about 5, 6 points. If you're up and you're in Lawrence, Kansas, and you're in that building, and all of a sudden a couple possessions go Kansas's way, and I know there's some missed threes by Oklahoma, but that crowd gets behind that team, and that can rattle you and rattle your focus a little bit. And I think that's what happened. I thought Oklahoma played a really good game right up until that last 2 to 3 minutes, and that's what they do in that building, and that's why they've had so much success. I mean, what's Bill Self lost? 19 games in there in his entire career. I mean, that's an insane number, and that's what happens in that building.
Yeah, most people would argue that that's the toughest place to play in college. And looking over the box score, to get 22 points from KJ Adams, that was a big time step up for him. Him playing well tonight really gave Kansas a boost. But also, Kansas has been playing these games pretty close lately, and I know they've been pulling them out. But tonight, I thought Oklahoma might be the one to get them. But they came through, and I think Kansas is a true contender. And I think, I think they have the tools to possibly hang another banner, which is very impressive off of what they did last year. But they've been playing some close ones lately.
Yeah, Greg, think about this too. It's a 4-point game, and we talk about the last 2 to 3 minutes. Oklahoma's 2 for 17 from 3. Oof. They make 2 more threes, they win the game. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I mean, that's how close that game was. And I thought they were getting good looks. I didn't think they were taking contested shots or bad shots. Like I said, I thought Porter Moser was running great stuff on offense. I thought he was putting Kansas's defense in a lot of different binds, especially versus that switching. They make 2 more threes, they win the game, and they're 2 for 17. So, like Tyler said, Kansas has been in some close games, but championship teams find a way to win those close games, right? Regardless of, who's shooting what at this percentage, like championship teams find a way to win those games, and that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and Matt, also you talked about culture with Kentucky. This is kind of the 180 to that right now, is where Kansas kind of has that winning culture where they know how to win. Mm-hmm. And, guys stepped up, KJ Adams getting 22 points. You wouldn't expect that, but he was playing, making winning plays to win the game. And, that's the difference right now you see with Kansas, especially with their culture compared to Kentucky, in my opinion.
Yeah, no question. Totally agree.
So I was a Kansas skeptic at the beginning of this season, pretty loudly. I came on this very program and a few others as well, and announced my skepticism in this team. Not in this program, not in this coach, nothing like that. Like, of course, they were going to be an NCAA tournament team. Of course, they're going to factor into the Big 12. It's Kansas. But I had questions of what a Bill Self team looks like without a true post threat or a post defender, post scorer. How is he going to evolve that? What's he going to do differently? And I mean, for this team to have 14 wins in its first 15 games, given those type of roster adjustments compared to what we've seen historically from his program, is extremely impressive to me. The other thing is, I mean, the freshman Grady Dick has been so good for them this year. And tonight he wasn't. Tonight he was 1 for 8 from the floor, 8 points, 1 for 4 from 3. And to me, he's a guy where he can't just be a luxury guy for Kansas, if that makes sense. Like for them to not be in a dogfight with a team like Oklahoma, they need Grady Dick to be that second option next to Jalen Wilson, and maybe on some nights be the first option. And I think he's good enough to do that. Tonight, I think he was a little bit out of control. I think his first couple shots didn't really go in. He started seeing him just be a little flustered, which is not the most surprising thing. Maybe surprising for him, but not for a freshman. And, you know, I give credit to some of their vets, like McCullough down the stretch had a couple of huge plays. The big and one to officially take the lead where he went through contact. They've just got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things on this team. And if they do get that scoring from Dick, then I'm all in on this team.
Yeah, but Greg, like think about this too. Like everyone talks about, and Tyler, you could speak to this, like the lack of front court. Like they don't have that dominant big, but like McCullough and Wilson, like those guys play really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And when the ball is up on the glass, those guys go get it. Like, especially in the offensive end of the floor, like if someone else shoots, those guys fly in there and they get Kansas extra possessions on offense. Like they may be undersized, but they play with an edge and they play with a motor that makes up for that, especially those two guys. I know how talented Wilson is offensively. I know he's a really, really good player, but man, does he play hard. And that makes up for their lack of size. And to me, that's what makes them a title contender.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And also, you know, KJ Adams is super athletic. He might not be the tallest person, but he's active on the boards. He's strong. He's physical. All that makes a huge difference. And especially today, small ball. You necessarily don't have to have a true center, even though I'm a big believer in the bigs and having a center, but they just don't have that on their roster. And also, I think Dick's only going to get better as the season goes along.
No question.
Being a freshman, the more experience he gets. And I've said before on the show, it's very impressive where Kansas is, coming off of what they've lost from last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And want to give a little credit to Oklahoma too. I think we did a little bit. We kind of skated by it though. But Grant Sherfield, he's a dude, man. Like he's a guy who can go out and win you games in the Big 12. He had 25 tonight, 9 for 15 from the floor. He didn't have the big buckets late when Oklahoma really, really needed them. But man, he's been dynamic. When Oklahoma's been at their best, when they've had some of these resume wins, it's been because Sherfield's going crazy. Another guy you see finding success in a new home via the transfer portal. So let's move